I work for Kiln.
Oh, sorry, just a second. I did the wrong thing. Never mind. Go ahead.
All right, great. Um, I'm going to try to get this off my screen, this being recorded box. If it's not, it's okay. I have my dream job. I used to run luxury hotels and resorts, and I love taking care of people. And a little less than a year ago, I moved across country and switched what I was doing to work for Kiln. And essentially now I do that same sort of hospitality, but for businesses and for people who are building something, particularly entrepreneurs at Kiln and Lehigh. One of the things I've heard over and over from leaders of teams here at Kiln is that they are worried about balancing whether or not they ask their team to come into the office as remote work has grown so popular. Here are some of the quotes that I have heard from people over the last 8 months as I've explored this. When I have my team at home, is my team actually working all day? I can see them here in the office when I'm with them, but if I let them work remotely, how productive are they being? How do I continue to build culture on my team? How do I recruit top talent when I'm just another remote company? I miss the ability to be able to huddle in person. I feel a little robotic myself working out of my basement if I don't come into the office. I don't know how to go back after telling my team they could be remote and then bring them back into the office. I'm worried that they'll quit. How much money should I spend on team outings? Should we get together and go to Top Golf? Do we have meals together, or do I save that money and have it for something else? How do I build loyalty among team members? Is it easier for them to get poached if they never see my face or their teammates in person rather than in just being remote? So this is what I've heard. I talked to someone who has 2 large offices here last week, and they have not issued a mandate for people to come in. They're giving them an option, and the people who are actually giving it a shot end up loving it. But those who are not, she is actually worried about if they're going to leave and if they can maintain things. When we do work remotely, it is a little bit hard to create this culture and camaraderie. You can bring donuts, but they will be just for yourself. It doesn't do much for your team, right? If you look at the media, you'll see the same thing. There's people, huge corporations who are saying, hey, everyone gets to be remote. We're cool. Then they decide to go back, and then there's an uproar. Everyone's still trying to figure it out. Something that Kiln has come up with, and I have championed, is Basecamp. I absolutely believe this is the future of work. You could say it's the hybrid model optimized. And here's the idea. A team is able to book a premium office that is the right size for just a day or the days of the week that would be most appropriate for them. So if you want to just to get together on Mondays and then have everyone else work remotely the rest of the week, you're able to do that. It's a perfect balance with everything. Also, what I've noticed in startups is that founders and leaders of teams have a lot of work that they do themselves. They don't have time to necessarily go and build the culture and take care of all the employees like a chief people officer would or an HR person. And so how are they able to listen to their team and build those relationships, but also get everything done? Going out and buying food at Costco is not an ideal use of time for a founder, or CEO, or leader. With Basecamp, we here at Kiln take care of all of those things so that you can come in, plug and play in the right size office, benefit from all the energy here at Kiln of other people doing the same thing. We have programming, we have food, we take care of the internet, of the desks and everything. And my ask as I'm going forward is for leaders of remote teams to come and give Basecamp a try. My promise is that as you take care of, take a week or even just one day to try it out, you will find that there really is no drawback to having your team together one day a week. They are still very fine being able to have most of their days, if they so choose, doing things from home. And one thing that we've added in as well is that they are able to maintain a club access. So if your team just has it on Mondays, the rest of the week, they are able to come in and utilize Kiln at the public spaces and meeting rooms as an individual if they so choose. So Kiln Basecamp is an opportunity to really improve the hybrid model, to give leaders those touch points they need to optimize their team and get work done. make decisions quicker, and still maintain the budget without paying for a huge office that will sit mostly empty.
Awesome, Weston. Right on time.
Okay, good.
Well done. Okay, we've got 5 minutes for Q&A and feedback. You can either unmute yourself or throw your questions in the chat, and we can go from there.
I just wanted to say, as someone who I really like having days that are remote, but I also do like getting to see my colleagues and like worked with them face to face. I think there's a lot of, I've worked obviously a range of jobs like this. Being in office sometimes can be distracting. It's like easier to get more things done when I'm on my own. And so I understand these fears, but also as a person who's a little more on the spectrum with the way that I want to work and develop, that I just want to be able to sit in a room and crank. I like this model. I think this sounds great, and I actually really appreciate the strategic direction from Kiln.
Thank you. That's really good feedback.
Any questions for Weston? What would stop you from doing this, or what would push you to do this?
I'd like to ask a little bit about pricing model. If
Sure.
you could kind of give us some information on that, and like sizes of teams, and I assume it's dynamic. We can expand and contract, and do you have like permanent office space, or is it just
Yes.
ad hoc?
Most of Kiln so far has been permanent office space or club membership, which would be public access, public tables, things like that. With this base camp, which is newer, we have 4 different sizes that we're using as kind of experiment. We have anything from a 4-person team all the way up to a 30-person team. And so you'd be able to come in, the size, obviously, we're finding there's a lot of smaller teams that are more budget conscious, but the pricing would be, if let's say a 4-person office cost you $2,000 a month to have full time, a base camp option for 1 day of the week, for example, just Mondays, would be more like $700 a month. And so what you would have is that every Monday you'd have that office, private office, and then the other days of the week you would have club access at any Kiln location. Right now we have 12, and you're saving that $1,300 a month compared to having the office full time. So it's about anywhere from a third to a quarter of what a full-time office would be at Kiln.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Just some points that I'd like to see from the pitch is just if you could also include like any success stories from the people that are actually members, like any highlights of what they enjoy about being in the space, like collaborative opportunities, or any feedback from their own team, like from the manager's perspective of like why it is important to their team and what the success looks like.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Weston, you can use us as that when you want a cheer for Kiln. We love it.
Thank you. Seriously, Taylor, thank you very much. Any other feedback, please?
Same here, Weston. If you want some feedback, I usually work out of Kiln 2 days a week in Salt Lake City, and I really, really love it.
Thank you, Fiona. Okay, that's great.
Yeah. It's nice to have the environment of like you get to see the same people every day. It seems like there's a lot of people who are in the office pretty regularly, so I enjoy that component of it, and I'd like to be there a little bit more, so trying to up those numbers.
Great. The community is huge.
We've got 1 minute. I'd be interested to hear why someone wouldn't use this or wouldn't do this. What are your thoughts on why you wouldn't do this as a company or an individual? Weston can take it.
Hi, this is Nedra. I would just say that, you know, if you had some teams and people in different geographies and didn't have enough people in certain geographies, maybe you had a cluster, you know, in New Jersey and a cluster in Kansas City and a cluster here, but you just didn't have, you know, it didn't make sense for 2 people to, you know, to go share an office. That would be my only feedback.
Yeah, makes sense. How about the last few seconds, that same question? Let's say your team was here, geography worked for us in that scenario. Why wouldn't you do it?
I can give you some example on our case. We do some like electronic and mechanical development and engineering. And so, we've got test instruments and, all kinds of gadgets and stock and inventory of components and stuff like that. So we couldn't be dragging that around. We're kind of tied to a location where we can keep that on hand.
That's a good point. Would you find a benefit in saying, hey, let's get away from that just for half a day a week or 1 day a week, and we won't do that stuff today, and let's just get offsite and meet and do more strategy work or togetherness? Or is it you need to be doing that all day, every day?
Probably not for the dev team, but more like administrative and like sales and marketing, kind of the business part of business. I could see that, having that team located at one of the locations. And I'm curious, is there just one in Utah County, or are there?
We just opened, I'm in Lehigh, 5 years old, and then we just opened in Provo a month ago.
Well,
Oh, okay. Very cool.
And I would
Yeah, I would-
actually, as a bonus, the one in Salt Lake City is like a 2-minute walk from the front runner. So people coming from the north or the south, I think it's a great central place and it's really easy to get to. So that could be a positive.
yeah, thanks all. This is great feedback. I would say reach out to Weston if you've got other questions. Dallas, can you pull up your presentation and let's jump into drink blocks.
Awesome. Perfect. You should be able to see that now. All right. So thanks for having me. Excited to be here. I'm an entrepreneur, been an entrepreneur for the last probably 13 years. I took my first little company on Shark Tank long ago and partnered with Mark Cuban and learned a whole bunch of different things about different consumer product companies. But aside from being an entrepreneur, I am also a dad. I've got 4 little girls. I've got 6-year-old twins. And I've got a 8-year-old and a 12-year-old. So I'm always thinking about them and especially what they're consuming. Health is a big priority for us, and trying to raise them up and have them make better choices. And I'm always thinking about kind of better for you options. And that's where kind of drink blocks came into existence. We call it hydration for the imagination. They're always trying to drink, Capri Suns or all these things, different things filled with sugar. And we thought, how cool would it be if we had came up with an idea where it was a better for you option, a better for you beverage, but it could double as a toy or something fun afterwards after they're done drinking. So what we've created is a naturally flavored water in 4 different flavors right now. We've got grape, lemonade, fruit punch, and strawberry kiwi. And we created a package that's completely BPA free. It's 100% recyclable. But the formula inside is 0 calories, 0 sugar. It's got no artificial colors or flavors. It's a clear formulation, so it's non-staining. If they dump it on their shirt or on the carpet, on the white carpet, it's easy to clean up. And it actually is better for them. It's flavored naturally with actual fruit flavoring, and then also stevia. We have a patented stevia that we use that doesn't give that kind of bite, that aftertaste that kids typically don't like. We've patented a really proprietary formulation. But the coolest part about it is after they're done drinking the product, they actually can create a building block. So I have a plane right here that they could create. They snap together with our patented tongue and groove system. You can see kind of on the side here, the little grooves, and they just snap apart. So after they're finished, you can see this, and then it'll just kind of clip right on and snap together and create anything they want to create. So that they can collect them all and create like this little doghouse right here. Or they can create an airplane or a little robot, or really the sky's the limit with it. So we've got 20 patents in 28 different countries. We also feature licensed products. So we've got Barbie, we've got a Mattel, both Mattel and Hasbro. So we've got Transformers and PJ Masks and My Little Pony and all the kind of favorite characters that they want to collect. They can see which flavor they like and which character they like and collect a whole bunch of different ones. So we've been kind of in stealth mode the last 6 months. I'll kind of scroll through a couple of our different properties that we've got, but we've kind of been just testing. So we did a test at Walgreens, and we had to go in 10 different random Walgreens in LA and see how many we could sell. We were told that we have to sell 1.8 units per store per day, and we averaged 11 units for 5 weeks in all of those stores. So it really pulled off the shelf, and our idea was that would happen both because of the licensing, and then also because kids want to collect. They want to build more. So they want 3 more to build the robot, and they want 4 more to build the big bridge, right? And so that's exactly what happened. And we just launched at the NAC show, the National Association of Convenience Stores, about 4 weeks ago, and had huge success there. There's 158 new customers that we got there, everything from 7-Eleven to 67 Costco stores to Pepsi and Dr. Pepper Keurig asking to take it in 17 states. So had a whole bunch of opportunities. So now what we're looking for is we've got the manufacturing figured out so we can supply. We've got the all the sales that we could possibly want to do between $60 and $80 million next year. And now we're looking at the different financial instruments to be able to make it so that we can do that. So we're looking at a PO financing. We're looking into a bunch of different options to be able to have that opportunity to take all of these sales that are now rushing in the door. So it's been a wild ride so far and a very, very fun launch. I've been a part of a lot of different launches, and I've never seen anything quite like this one.
That's awesome, Dallas. Great work. Very cool. You've got 4 minutes for Q&A and feedback. Either unmute yourself or throw it in the chat. Looks like Jeremy mentioned maybe taking off the screen.
Oh, the blur. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I think it would be helpful to have a clear like problem slide at the beginning, because it was nice to hear your personal story, but I would like to see that in a slide format so that way we can know what your solutions are that you have coming, because I think you're actually tackling you have a lot of solutions, right? It's like, it's a healthy drink, it's a fun toy, it could tackle some like waste solutions as well for products for kids. So I think if you could structure it at the beginning of like, yes, one of our goals is healthy things, but we also have all of these other things that we're experiencing with kid products. Because then that way we can see what your roadmap would look like when you go to the solution slides. And then we can kind of predict ways that we could help you as like an investor or as with our other resources as well. Okay, great. One of the questions said in the chat, being a founder of another company that went on Shark Tank, what did you learn from that experience that has helped you with drink blocks? A lot. I was a brand new little college student back then when I had that first company. And so I think learning distribution really helped me. All of the contacts that I have for Walmart, Target, Costco, all of those different ones, I really learned on that first go round. And then keeping all of those contacts has helped big time with this launch. And then Parker says, do you know if a lot of your sales are repeat customers? Seems like the building block feature would work to incentivize to buy more. We haven't tracked any data on that yet, but that is our the thought and the idea, right? That they will come back and buy more, and it's collectible. And so I think that is hopefully what we're going to start to track, and we're going to start to see. It's just so new, we don't have that yet.
Have you thought about looking at vending or kiosks, something that you can have at airports or other solutions to, maybe getting sales?
We have talked to a few airport distributors, and they seem to really like it. We've talked to a couple kind of not your typical ones, like there's a lot that sell to daycares as well, and they really liked the idea, so that they could have the drink, but then they could store them and put them in a box, and the kids could come out and play with them. So some of those kind of alternative channels could be really interesting for this.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you've thought about some sort of contest or competition that will allow you to connect directly with your customer as opposed to having the distributor in between, because I think there could be a lot of value there as well.
Yeah, we've thought of like an app where they could, scan or put in how many blocks they have and see what they could build with the app, right? So it's like, oh, I have 12 blocks. Here's 6 things I can build with that. And then they could unlock different ones as they kind of go down and kind of try to gamify it a little bit. We thought would be a fun idea down the road.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I have 5.
Dallas, go ahead, Weston.
No, I'll wait. Thank you, Bob.
Dallas, where are you manufacturing, and are you covered with IP okay patents, so you wouldn't mind sharing this with maybe other drink companies?
Yes, we are locked up on the patents globally. And so we feel really good about that. And then we have currently a facility in Wisconsin. We have another facility in Texas that we manufacture at. We're setting one up in New Jersey. We're setting one up in Nevada as well. And then we'll have another one somewhere kind of Florida region that we're working on. But we should have 6 to 7 open in the next 6 months.
Well, that's great. I have been involved with a company that's going to build a manufacturing plant there in Utah with spring water down in central Utah. And if I would like to introduce you to them if you're covered well. They already sell on the East Coast. They're in most of the big box companies. Just
wonderful.
Going a few years and might be interesting for you. So if you would just
I would love that.
Send me a little note, I would do that.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome.
I would love that.
Dallas, thanks so much. Thanks everybody for your feedback. That's fantastic. Really appreciate it. If you've got other questions or comments, please connect with Dallas. And if you have some resources for him, that would be helpful. Nedra, you are up next. I'll let you share your screen and kick it off.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll get myself set up here. Here we go, slideshow. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. My name is Nedra Barr, and I'm the CEO and the founder of OnboardXi. And today, my partner, David Breezing, and I, we're going to share with you why we will become the de facto gold standard platform for customer onboarding for the life insurance industry, first in the US and Canada, and then globally. We're a team of 5 insurance, wealth management, and technology experts. We're visionaries. We've all started off as agents, insurance agents, and advisors. So we really know this business well, and we really understand how it works. And we've all come together to solve this huge problem for our industry. We solve the customer onboarding process for life insurance distributors and life insurance companies using an AWS low-code, no-code solution, which it provides faster implementations and less costly implementations. As you can see, the current onboarding process is a mess. It's very fragmented, it's disconnected, it's duct taped together, and the two sides don't talk. The distributors don't talk to the back-end insurance companies, and that is a huge problem. And it's a problem that every other industry has solved. Insurance has even solved this in property and casualty and other areas, but they have not yet solved it in life insurance. So what do? Well, we really manage the agent and the client data, and then we make all that data actionable on forms like life insurance applications, claim forms, and policy servicing forms. We take this data and we manage it in our solution from the first contact, so lead generation, or the first time somebody meets with somebody and puts data in the CRM throughout the entire life cycle of the client. When an agent starts a new application for life insurance or disability or long-term care, we pre-fill all that data right from our CRM into the right forms and then deliver it to the client for signing and payment before we deliver it on to the insurance company. Our industry, life insurance industry, is in the US is a $675 billion industry, and it's a $3 trillion industry worldwide. So it's really just amazing how this segment of the industry has not yet fully automated. Underwriting costs are about 30 cents on the dollar, which is way too high for an industry that is flat, that's fairly flat for new business. Companies have spent millions, hundreds of millions actually of dollars trying to improve the client experience with very little progress. The only solve really for this is to fully automate the processes and modernize, as most every other industry has already done. Additionally, there's a movement in the industry to reduce the number of vendors. So OnboardXi's all-in-one solution is very attractive for companies to leverage. We have many unique capabilities, but one of our capabilities is our collaboration capability between agents and clients. And this would have been fantastic during the pandemic. The old way of selling life insurance face-to-face just doesn't work anymore. Virtual life insurance agencies and call centers have become quite a big selling channel for life insurance and ancillary products. The majority of all life insurance applications still come in by hand. They're handwritten on paper applications, and they come in with lots of errors. Some insurance companies and distributors, they still cite 100% error rate. For every application that goes into a company, it comes back to them. That's called a NIGO in our industry, and it's very, very expensive. Some companies are using fillable forms, but unless they have all the business rules and everything on them, it still creates lots of errors. And this forms problem is a huge problem in the industry because every insurance company has to be licensed in every state, and every state has their own version of an insurance application. So there's 50 versions of one insurance application, which is crazy. We've designed a solution that you're seeing here that really allows for agents to submit applications correctly the first time and let the insurance companies have access to not only the form that's submitted, but the data on the form as well. So we bundle all of these forms together, the correct state, the correct supplemental forms, and then we help the back office of an insurance company bring that application data in a standardized format. We also integrate with third-party providers to add additional data sets to the application data packet that is required for underwriting to be able to underwrite that system. And then after that, we safely save and store all the data and the documents in compliant storage, which has to be compliant because of this industry. So what we're doing here, we have a lot of uniquenesses, but one thing that we have created is this data set to standardize all the data on every application across all life insurance companies. We bundle all these forms by state, by product, by writer, by supplemental form. So submitting the wrong application and the wrong forms, it just stops. This is one reason why we're going to be the de facto gold standard. We make money in two ways. We have a subscription model where companies will pay anywhere from starting off around $35 per month, clear up to over $100 per user per month. We also have a transactional model for insurance companies that do high volumes and they want more of a transactional model. We're just now starting a fundraise, and we're looking for angels, and we're starting a fundraise. We'll be raising 1.5 million, and we're starting that raise next week. We're also launching our product next week, and everything you see here in color is ready to go, and this is what we will launch with. So we will be selling this to distributors starting next week, in about a week and a half, actually. So, and then over here on the left-hand side, you can see the solutions and the additional modules that we're adding into our solution. We have an upsell model already written that's in prototype, and then we'll be building out our back office workflows and doc storage for the insurance companies. And that has to be separate from the distributors due to compliance reasons. Okay, here's our raise information. We're ready to go with that, and we thank you for your time and the ability to talk to you today.
Thanks, Nedra. Great job. We've got about 2 or so minutes for some questions or feedback for Nedra and OnboardXi. Any questions, comments from the group?
Insurance is such a fun topic. It really is.
Nedra, what is your distribution model? Like, how are you going to be selling this?
So we're a SaaS model. We sell it on either a per seat, to the distributors per user per month, or we sell it on a transaction module. But we have different modules that we'll sell to distributors, and then we have some different modules that we sell to the life insurance carriers.
Okay, so are you going direct to the carriers? You said
we're going direct to the carriers, and then we also go direct to the distribution firms because those are different modules that they buy.
Gotcha. Okay.
I had a question,
sure.
Nedra. So something I've been working on is basically your strategic positioning for software. So you've done the low code, no code AWS solution to make a packageable operational effectiveness is how I'm viewing it. What do you feel like are your biggest threats for either direct competition or substitutions, or the ability for someone to basically create a similar software solution?
Yeah, those are great questions. So, there's always going to be competition. And right now, today, there are competitors that do certain components of what we do, but they don't do all of it, right? And so there are AMS systems; those are called agency management systems, and they'll manage an agency's book of business and their distributor agents. And they do a great job, but they don't really handle those e-apps. Those are separate systems. And separate companies like iPipeline, they do a lot of the e-apps for life insurance and ancillary products. They have not ventured together. And there's a big disconnect in the market with that. Because if I'm a life agent, I may have to go to this system then to do one thing, then I have to go to another system to do another thing, and another system to submit it, and another system to do needs analysis, and it's just too complicated. We've packaged all this together in an all-in-one solution that really helps the agent drive their business forward.
Great. Nedra, thanks so much. This is great. I would suggest you put your LinkedIn in the chat. If anybody has any questions or comments, please reach out to Nedra directly.
Certainly.
Thanks so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, last one for the day. Fiona, you are up and you can share your screen and kick things off.
All right. Hello, everyone. So I'm president of a company called ViewPoint. We make role-playing simulation software for higher education. So this is something that was special to me to come on in this capacity because my full-time job during the pandemic was as a university instructor. And my role was to teach students how to see patients. My first degree is in audiology, so that's where my background lies in a lot of interprofessional education. And so when we made the shift during the pandemic, it was really challenging. It became quickly apparent that we needed new ways to have some online collaboration and some ways to get students interacting with the course material that we were trying to present. And the cool thing about ViewPoint, it was developed by another instructor facing similar challenges, but in a wholly different department. She is based at the University of Michigan, Elizabeth Gerber. She is public policy and political science instructor. And she was looking for ways to teach her students how a bill becomes a law. And instead of lecturing to her class, she wanted to assign the students to play different roles within that space. So maybe members of the House of Representatives, senators, and then they could work together to advance that bill. So that's how ViewPoint came about. With that, we're trying to raise funding right now. We'd like to raise $1 million over the next couple of months. The use of funds, we have a fully functioning platform right now and several customers. But what we need to do is some more development work to make it a little bit simpler to use to reach more of the markets that are reaching out to us, the individual instructors in different departments. And we'd also like to incorporate some AI. We see the transition in software and technology moving in that direction. We want to capitalize on that. And then also to expand our team. So with that, we know that instructors are seeking ways to incorporate experiential learning into their coursework, into their classrooms for better student engagement. Some of the challenges in higher education right now have evolved with the switch to distance learning, more online-based learning platforms. Also, how to engage your students. We're seeing students who are facing a lot of distractions, especially as we're moving into some of those online learning spaces. And now they're not just in the classroom, but they're also in their home environment. Another challenge for higher educators right now is how do we cultivate soft skills or interpersonal skills? So how do we teach students some of the workplace skills that they'll need once they leave the classroom? And ViewPoint provides a platform for all of that. So with this, we see the opportunity here to overhaul the educational landscape. Right now, we are seeing a lot of increased interest in certificate-based learning rather than strictly academic programs. So with the incorporation of technology into academic programs, increasing learner engagement, but then also with the shift to some of that certificate-based learning, ViewPoint provides an easy platform for instructors to use and to engage students and to move that forward. So the facilitator interface is really simple and streamlined for the instructors to use, as well as the students. It looks very similar to what the students see on their side of things. There's an opportunity to schedule your simulation. A lot of instructors are using our simulations for a single class, maybe an hour-long class. But then we also have others who are using it multiple simulations for the same activity over the duration of an entire semester. So all of that can be built out ahead of time. Students are then assigned to different groups and roles depending on what the objective of that particular simulation is. So for example, if we're doing a business simulation, all of the students are assigned to play different roles. Maybe they're the chief executive officer, the CFO, maybe they are just individuals within that organization, and they can kind of mimic that process of building and growing a startup. The instructor can then put in announcements for their class. So maybe we have a large group. They want to make some announcements throughout the duration of that coursework, or also maybe current events are affecting what that student is experiencing in the decisions that they're trying to make. So there's a module for that in our platform as well. There's also a key feature here where the instructor can gain some insights into the student participation during the duration of this simulation. And this is really nice for ways to quantify what interactions are happening across these classroom or online activities. Our pricing guide is pretty simple. For basic coursework, this is designed for smaller individual courses and what a lot of our current licenses are comprised of. That's going to be $1,000 each, all the way up to departmental subscription for $5,000 a year, allowing for multiple instructors within a department to use the ViewPoint platform. If we continue on the trajectory that we have been on, and we can maybe focus towards more of our $5,000 departmental wide licenses, which we're seeing some significant interest in right now, I think we have the potential to reach 2.5 million in education contracts by the end of April 1st, 2025. So that's pretty exciting. Our market is pretty significant. As of 2020, this information comes from the National Center for Education Statistics. There are about 190,000 full-time professors within the United States. And then we also have a significant portion of part-time university instructors as well, all potential candidates to be using ViewPoint in their classes. So what sets ViewPoint apart from its competitors, there are other simulation platforms available in today's market, but a lot of them rely on the simulation company to design the simulations for them or ahead of time, or maybe they can pick from pre-designed courses that are built into the simulation software. We have those pre-designed courses built into our simulation software, which can be downloaded, but they can also be fully customized. And there's an opportunity for instructors to build their own coursework or their own simulation that is completely tailored to their individual classroom and their individual needs. So right now, we are being used in 20 universities across the United States, and we also have one university contract in Africa. We have paying customers with subscriptions that range from $1,000 all the way up to $5,000. 3 out of 4 paying customers right now are renewals. So that's really exciting. We're seeing a lot of interest in keeping up use of the platform once the instructors have had the opportunity to try it out. And then we also have a pretty significant cold email outreach conversion. We're seeing a lot of traction in terms of trials of ViewPoint. And then I also had 3 inbound inquiries this quarter, just from people who liked our platform and recommended it to their colleagues. So pretty exciting times at ViewPoint, and I am opening the floor for any questions that you might have or any asks.
Fiona, great job. Thank you. Got a few minutes for questions, comments, feedback.
I know, I was gonna say, I noticed so it's geared towards universities, but this is great. Like I'm a huge fan of simulation. Have you considered K through 12 applications? Because I think even thinking about meme culture, one of the biggest go-tos is, why didn't we learn business entrepreneurship and basic home finance in high school instead of like the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, even though I am a like biophysics background. But like, yeah, like have you considered K through 12 applications as well?
We do have one K through 12 contract right now, so absolutely, but not in the context of financial planning. And I love that idea of incorporating that into some of the finance classes. Utah has a handful of finance classes in their K through 12, so that's a great idea. Thank you.
What,
I might
what are you
recommend-
looking at as far as financing, as far as liquidity for the financer? Have you looked at what you might offer?
Yeah, so I think we're open to pretty much any conversation right now. We're still pretty early stage. So I think any opportunity for partnership is something that we're exploring right now. I think some potential ideas would be pretty much, I don't know, we're really open. I don't want to take up too much time, but we're open to pretty much any solutions right now. This is still really early stage and we're exploring all options. So Bob, that doesn't answer your question, but I would love to have a conversation with anyone who wants to have one.
Yeah, I might just recommend, again, having a slide on your go-to-market strategy, because you kind of talked about your cold conversions and the market size and things like that, but it would be good to see what your strategy is and, you know, how you kind of using those milestones to show that your go-to-market strategy is actually working.
I appreciate that, Nancy. Thank you.
I have a comment. I've worked with people with dyslexia quite a bit, and education for dyslexia is really sparse, but there's some programs that are very effective. And it seems to me like your platform might lend itself very well to some courseware or course with people that are learning to read. You know, they really struggle with it. I have a son that's severely dyslexic, so we got involved in that. But is that something you've looked at before? Or?
It's not, and I appreciate the idea. Definitely something that I would like to look into further.
Okay, yeah. My wife was the director of You Read, which was a awareness group for dyslexia, and they did seminars and things that had to really raise a lot of awareness, but they didn't actually affect and, you know, go out and build some reading centers and actually make it happen. So maybe we can get together offline here.
I would love that. Thank you, Mike.
Cool.
Yeah, hi,
Hey, Fiona,
Dave Myers here real quickly from Oregon. There's a company that you might look up in Wikipedia or some other things and look at their history and how they evolved. They were Northwest Evaluation Association, and they did cognitive testing for kids and K through 12, and then they went into high school, and then they even got some things for kindergarten and even as early as nursery school, where the kids nowadays, you see the tiny 3 or 4 year olds and they're playing with a device. So maybe looking at them and how they moved down the path. They grew to 1,000 employees and got acquired by HMH last year, I think. But if you could follow that path with your vision, you might be highly successful.
I appreciate that.
Hey, Fiona, this is Devin. Speaking of, potential acquisition in the future, what's your timeline for an exit?
I think we're a little flexible on that. I'd like to see 2 years. I think is kind of our end game there. If it can happen a little sooner, that would be awesome too. But if it takes a little longer, I'm open to continuing with it because it's been a really fun project to be a part of.
Awesome. Love the presentation. I'd love to connect with you. I'll send you a request on LinkedIn.
Thank you, Devin.
Hey, great job, Fiona. I also just was just a suggestion to throw in some on the competitive landscape, because I know that there have been a ton of simulation companies come out, but I know that this is a little different than what they are, but just showing how you are different and making sure that's clear, and also that you know what market you're targeting, how that fits in with how you're different as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep.
Great feedback, everyone. I think if you've got some additional questions or comments for Fiona, Fiona, if you don't mind putting your LinkedIn or email or however you'd like people connecting with you. I saw Nedra did that. Thank you. Please do that and reach out. Also, please reach out to all of the presenters if you've got questions or comments or resources that you could help them with. Really appreciate everybody coming today. This was exciting. It was a little tense in terms of timing. I know a 5-minute pitch is really short, and all the presenters did a great job. So thank you very much to the presenters, and thanks for everyone coming. We'll see you back here next week for next week's Midday Connect. Thanks all.
Thanks, everyone.